I watched him laugh as his friends humiliated me at the gala. They poured champagne on my dress, called me a gold digger, and told me I didn't belong. Sebastian just stood there smiling. What they didn't know, I owned the building they were standing in, and by the end of the night, I'd destroy them all. But let's back up, because this story starts long before that night. And trust me, what happens next will leave you speechless. My name is Emory Harrington, and my family is worth $47 billion. My father, Lawrence Harrington, built an empire, real estate, tech, investments, hotels. We owned a piece of everything. But here's the ugly truth about money. It makes you question everyone's motives. When my mother died in a car accident, I was 10. Overnight, I became a target. My father turned our home into a fortress, surrounded me with security, and vetted everyone I spoke to, friends, teachers, even dates, all investigated. I lived in a golden cage. By 25, I was suffocating. So I made my father a deal. Give me 1 year to live like a normal person, under a fake name, no guards, no privileges. Just me. He hated it, but he agreed. That's how I became Emory Collins, the quiet girl renting a tiny apartment with creaky floors and neighbors who played bad music too loud. I got a job at a little bookstore called Chapter and Verse. It paid pennies. But for the first time in my life, people talked to me like I was just normal. Then Sebastian Cross walked in. It was a rainy Tuesday. The store was empty when a tall man in a $5,000 suit pushed through the door, shaking rain from his hair like he was offended by the weather. "Excuse me." He actually snapped his fingers at my coworker. First edition of The Great Gatsby. Make it quick. Jenny turned scarlet, but stayed polite. We didn't have it. Sebastian rolled his eyes. Figures. What kind of bookstore doesn't have the basics? Every instinct in me wanted to put him in his place. But Emory Collins couldn't afford to lose her job. So I smiled. "I can order for you, sir. 3 days. That's when he finally looked at me. "Fine," he said, handing me his card. "Sebastian Cross, CEO, Cross Industries." Of course. 3 days later, the book came in. I called him. He showed up, suddenly charming, full of compliments. It felt rehearsed, but I played along. A week later, I bumped into him at a coffee shop. Later, I realized it wasn't an accident. He sat down without asking. "Emory from the bookstore, right?" "That's me." "You're pretty," he said, stirring his espresso. "Pretty for someone who works retail." I almost laughed. "Thanks. I think." He grinned. "I'm going to gala next weekend. Windsor Charity Gala. You should come. It'll be fun to see how the other half lives." He smirked like he was doing me a favor. I tilted my head and smiled sweetly. Sure. He had no idea what he'd just invited into his world. The gala was being held at the Harrington Grand Hotel, one of my family's flagship properties. Saturday came fast. I chose a burgundy Valentino gown, worth more than his car, but subtle enough to pass for elegant thrift. Sebastian picked me up in his Bentley. Eyeing my building with visible disgust. "Rough neighborhood," he said. "Once you see how real success looks, it might inspire you to aim higher." I smiled politely, hiding my satisfaction. When we pulled up to the hotel, flashbulbs exploded around us. Inside, crystal chandeliers glittered over silk-draped tables and white orchids. Sebastian strutted in like he owned the place. I followed, quiet, invisible, watching. He paraded me around. "This is Emory," he told his friends. "She works at a bookstore. Thought I'd show her a real night out." They smiled with the kind of politeness that stinks of cruelty. Then she appeared, Patricia Vanderbilt, Sebastian's ex-tall, blonde, diamonds everywhere. "Sebastian," she purred, then turned her icy smile on me. "And you are—" "Emory," I said. "She works at a bookstore," Sebastian added, laughing. Patricia's eyes sparkled with venom. "How quaint. Is this your new charity project? Bringing the help to fancy events now." People laughed. Sebastian tried, weakly, to act embarrassed, but didn't offend me. Then Patricia tripped, spilling red wine all over my gown. Gasps filled the air. She pressed a manicured hand to her mouth. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." she said. I'll Venmo you $50. I'm sure that covers it. The table snickered. Sebastian whispered, It's fine. Just ignore her. You're doing great. For someone not used to this kind of thing. I smiled tightly. Thanks. I'll manage. Dinner was worse. Patricia never stopped. So, Emory, what do bookstore clerks earn these days? Do you even know what charity we're supporting? Her tone dripped poison. Sebastian laughed. She's learning, he said. It's cute. I excused myself to the bathroom, hands shaking from anger, not humiliation. Patricia followed me in. You don't belong here, she hissed. Sebastian does this all the time. Picks a pathetic girl, shows her off, and dumps her. You're nothing special. I stared at her, silent, the way my father stared at billionaires who owed him money. She pushed me slightly, sneering. No comeback? Thought so. Then she walked out. I took one deep breath and smiled, because it was almost time. Back in the ballroom, the charity auction was starting. Sebastian and Patricia were locked in a bidding war, trying to outshine each other. Then came the final item, dinner with Lawrence Harrington, one of the most powerful businessmen in the world. Starting bid, $100,000. The air shifted. Sebastian's eyes gleamed. $250,000. Patricia, $400,000. $800,000. Sebastian declared triumphantly. The auctioneer smiled. 800,000, going once, going twice. 5 million. My voice cut through the room like glass. Every head turned. The whispers started immediately. Sebastian looked panicked. Emory, what are you doing? You can't. I reached into my purse and pulled out a Platinum Harrington card. Not the kind you apply for, the kind that gets delivered by private courier. Run it, I said. The auctioneer did. The machine beeped. Transaction approved. Silence. Then chaos. Patricia shrieked. She stole that card. Someone called security. 2 guards started toward me, but the hotel manager rushed in, pale-faced. Stand down, he ordered, then looked at me with dawning recognition. Miss Harrington, I didn't know you were attending. Sebastian blinked. Harrington? What? Then the ballroom doors opened. My father walked in. Tall, composed, radiating power. Conversation stopped mid-sentence. He went straight to me, kissed my forehead. Sweetheart, why didn't you tell me you were coming? Every single person froze. Phones came out. Search results loaded. Emory Collins was really Emory Harrington, heiress to the Harrington Empire. Sebastian sat frozen, his world collapsing in real time. Please, he whispered, voice trembling. I didn't know. If I'd known who you were. I turned to him slowly, my heels clicking against the marble floor like a countdown. That's exactly the problem, Sebastian. I said evenly. You didn't know who I was, so you thought it was okay to treat me like garbage. You respect wealth, not people. He reached out desperate, but my father's bodyguards blocked him instantly. My father's voice was cold steel. Touch her again and I'll end you, Cross. Sebastian's confidence shattered completely. His knees hit the floor as he begged, Emory, please, don't do this. I made a mistake. Just give me a chance to make it right. I looked down at him, the once powerful soul now trembling on the ground. You'll receive notice tomorrow morning. Your lease at Cross Tech Tower is terminated. My family's investment, $50 million, is withdrawn. You'll have 90 days to vacate. He gasped. That will destroy me. No, I interrupted. You destroyed yourself the moment you decided humiliation was entertainment. My father stepped forward. Mr. Cross, he said in a voice so calm it was terrifying, if you ever disrespect my daughter again or any woman, you'll find no door in the city open to you. Every investor, every partner, every friend will vanish. Are we clear? Sebastian could only nod. Tears glistened in his eyes. The great Sebastian Cross, who mocked others for being beneath him, was now groveling at the feet of the woman he'd underestimated. I turned and walked away, my wine-stained gown brushing against the floor. Patricia was screaming as security dragged her toward the exit, her father's furious voice echoing over the phone. Around us, the ballroom remained silent. Hundreds of powerful people realizing they just witnessed the end of two reputations. Outside, the night air was cool and sharp. My father's car waited. As we drove away, I finally exhaled. Did I go too far? I asked quietly. He glanced at me, a small smile tugging at his lips. You showed restraint, he said. If it were me, Cross-Tech would already be dust. I looked out at the city lights streaking past a window. Maybe people like him can learn from this. Maybe, my father said thoughtfully, but people like him only respect what they fear. That stayed with me. I thought about Sebastian's pleading face, Patricia's shock, the whispers that would ripple through the elite by morning. They'd learn that the girl they mocked didn't just belong. She owned the room they stood in. I don't want to be feared, I murmured. My father's voice softened. Then don't. But don't ever let anyone mistake your kindness for weakness. You stood tall tonight. I'm proud of you. We rode in silence for a moment. Then he asked, So, done hiding? I smiled faintly. Yeah, I think so. I'm done pretending to be someone else. It's time the world knew exactly who I am. He chuckled. That's my daughter. When the car stopped in front of my modest apartment, I looked up at the familiar cracked bricks, the flickering porch light. It had been my home for a year, a simple life full of lessons. I'd learned the value of genuine people, the strength and humility, and the power of staying quiet until the right moment to speak. Tonight, I wasn't the invisible girl in a bookstore anymore. I was Emory Harrington, heir, businesswoman, survivor. By tomorrow morning, social media would explode. Headlines would read, Heiress exposes CEO and socialite at Charity Gala. Videos would surface. Analysts would debate. Investors would panic. And me? I'd wake up, have coffee, and start planning my next move. Because tonight wasn't just revenge, it was revelation. I'd proven that you could strip away the titles, the money, the power, and still see who people truly are. Some wear masks of wealth to hide their rot. Others, like me, wear humility to see the truth. As the city lights reflected in the car window, I smiled. You know what's funny? I said to my father. They thought I was beneath them, but I was the one holding the floor up the entire time. He laughed softly. Let them find out what happens when they step on the wrong person. I nodded. They already did. Later that night, alone in my apartment, I slipped off the ruined dress and hung it carefully. The stain was a reminder, a scar of what arrogance looked like. I poured a glass of wine and opened my laptop. Messages and notifications flooded my screen. Reporters, investors, friends, enemies. The world suddenly remembered my name. But I didn't respond. I just sat there, smiling to myself. Power didn't mean flaunting it. It meant knowing when to use it. Somewhere in his penthouse, Sebastian Cross was watching his empire crumble. Patricia Vanderbilt was trending for all the wrong reasons. And me? I was free. Free from pretending. Free from needing approval. Free from every mask I'd ever worn. So yes, that's my story. The night I reminded the world that appearances deceive, that humility isn't weakness, and that underestimating someone can cost everything. What do you think? Did I go too far, or was it justice served cold? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story made your heart race, hit that like button right now and subscribe, because trust me, the next story is even crazier. And remember this, never underestimate the quiet ones. The barista, the assistant, the girl in the simple dress. She might just own the world you're standing in.